Hey y'all, quick note. While My Hero Academia was created for kids, this podcast is not safe for work or children. All trigger warnings and spoilers for each episode can be found at our website, myheroanalysis.com. Thanks for listening.
Hey y'all, this is My Hero Analysis, a podcast about My Hero Academia, aka Boku no Hero Academia. We are three grown adults who mine Japanese children's cartoons for serotonin because God knows our brains aren't making it naturally.
Hello, everyone. I am Wyatt. This is the third time this morning that we've tried recording this episode. First, my internet went out. Then Maria's, God herself, is trying to stop this podcast. But
She's
we're
a
not
hater.
going to listen to her. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna make this happen one way or another.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah.
Oh, also, our website is now live. Hey, and the previews for our first couple of episodes are also out. Woo!
Yes, they are out. They are beautiful. They are wonderful. I have been very annoying on Twitter about all of it. And I have also given us 5 stars because we deserve it. And all of you, thank y'all. All of you should also give us 5 stars and review and subscribe and all that good stuff. Please.
Yes, please. Leave a review, but only if you're nice to us.
Yeah. If you leave a mean review, we will cry. Mm-hmm. We have anxiety. Multiple different forms of it.
Types.
Yeah. We all have a different flavor of anxiety.
Yeah. I'm Nicole, and other than being annoying on Twitter this week, it's just been a kind of normal week. I did enter it's not really a contest, but I basically entered, how do I say this? It's weird. I don't even want to say what it is because that'll jinx it. I entered a program to hopefully get something. And that is all I'm going to say.
Fun.
Also, I have books coming today and I can't wait.
Yay, books. Book package.
Yes.
Where package?
Where is it?
Boxes are good. Hey, y'all. It's Maria. I have officially begun my Halloween month.
Yes.
Including my Wi-Fi being haunted, but it's fine.
Oh my God, I think I had tea come out of my nose.
Oh my God. Did you ever manage to sneeze, Maria?
No.
Oh God, it's still in there.
It is. So at some point, a sneeze will come. And I guess we can do goat noises for that too.
Probably I will leave it in.
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, I've had a pretty eventful week. But,
oh dear.
Let's see. I got my results back. I can no longer, I'm slightly allergic to chicken. Well, it's not an allergy. It's like a reaction to chicken and wheat and gluten. And so, yeah, we're going to have to get those out of my system unless for special occasions because I'm
that
a
really
bread.
sucks.
Yeah.
Bread bitch. I love bread. Bread is so good.
Yeah, bread and pasta. You just knocked out my 2 favorite things. You poor thing.
Yeah.
Thank
well, I
God the
don't
gluten-free options are better now.
Yeah, they're getting better.
I'm not a big pasta eater.
Oh God.
How dare you?
God doesn't have to end this podcast because Nicole is going to kill one of the hosts.
I feel like the amount of times I say controversial statements, Nicole is going to kill me because I say a lot of them.
Well, if it would be anyone, it would be me out of us 3.
Most likely to commit a murder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this is a podcast about My Hero Academia. So we should probably start.
Nah. They like the banter.
I hope so. But this week we're covering episode 7 of the anime. The title is Deku versus Kacchan. And the accompanying manga chapters are chapters 9 and 10. So this episode opens with a brief recap of the previous episode's ending. Katsuki is asking Ida about Izuku's quirk and freaking out, of course, as he does, while Izuku is explaining to Ochako why he admires Katsuki even after everything he's done. Then the training exercise begins. Izuku throws Katsuki to the ground, and we're back where we left off.
Yep. And Izuku, your crush on Bakugo does not have to be your only motivation.
I bet Ida and Ochako had like the most intense gossip session after this fight. Like they just got together and they were like, what the fuck was that?
Honestly, I believe this is the beginning of the Deku fan club.
God,
Oh.
I hope so.
For sure. Also, Katsuki claiming that he's only going to hold himself back enough that the fight doesn't get stopped is concerning. Child.
Yeah. Yeah. Honey, sweetie, baby. It's still not all about you, and it never was.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I have to say it. Bakugo's costume is great, but compared to Izuku's, I cannot help but laugh.
Aww.
Inko, I love you. You're a wonderful parent, but you did a terrible job. I'm not sorry. I know it's sewn with love, but that thing is never going to help him in the rankings.
Yeah, I agree. It's slightly terrifying. I love Inko, but it definitely needs an upgrade and maybe something less scary.
Excuse y'all. My wife worked very hard on that.
Yeah.
She
She did very well for her first costume, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm glad Izuku gets some upgrades, but we'll get to those when we get to those.
Yeah, Inko, I love you more than life itself, but unfortunately, I agree. So then we get the opening credits, and then we transition to one of the first flashbacks of this episode. There's quite a few of them, so we'll be jumping back and forth. But we transition to a flashback / explanation of Katsuki and Izuku's fraught relationship, which began when they were kids. Katsuki is the group leader of their little friend group, and Izuku is like a classic groupie, basically.
Yep. And basically what they do in this first little scene is they want to fight bad guys in the forbidden no trespassing zone. And that was Bakugo's idea. And like, sir, you're rule breaking. And Izuku is a poor little rule follower, like myself. Also, the peer pressure hurt in a very deep way. My poor darling Izuku.
Yeah.
Also, we get a look at Katsuki's friends. We will definitely talk about them more at the bottom of the episode in the red thread section. But here we actually see all three of the friends together, the two from his middle school class and also Winged Boy. So they were all just part of the same little crew. It's really cute and also really sad.
Winged Boy.
Yeah. Also, finally, why does Katsuki have a purse? He's so fashion at only 4 years old.
How much do you want to bet that he begged his mom to buy him one just so he had somewhere to put his rocks? Also, I am so distracted right now. There's a hawk's like outside my window.
Hawks?
Oh my God, Nicole.
Your thirst is showing.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's hawks.
No, they've been screaming for the past 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's not hawks at this point.
Just him sitting on top of Maria's roof, just screaming.
Screaming. That's Fan and Hawks for sure. But yes,
for sure.
Yes. Okay.
But yes, I agree.
Wrong.
Katsuki definitely had to have like a bag to carry all the stuff that he collected as a wee small boy.
And it's fashionable.
Yes, He is fashion.
Fashion.
So Izuku reveals that Katsuki's bullying didn't really start till after he got his quirk, which, that says so much about their society right there.
Yeah. He says after his quirk manifested, he started a change. And that's because society told him that he was all powerful and could do anything his little child brain wanted. No inhibitions, just control. And then when he got older, that was just reinforced in so many ways. And he was not properly, educated, guided, counseled, nothing.
All of that.
Nothing. Yep.
All of that.
Yeah, he never had a chance. In the dub, Deku says he was always so confident. I thought he was the coolest person I'd ever met. Three things here. Sir, you're 4. So you've met like 3 people. Also, sir, your anxiety, and sir, your blush.
You know, those formative impressions, though.
He was 4. I can't remember a dang thing about when I was 4.
Fair. I don't remember anything. I have blocked most of my childhood. And that's on trauma.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo.
Yeah, so we're just gonna sprinkle in really disturbing statements. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's what keeps them listening.
Yeah, but then so back to the episode. In the sub, this is finally where the line comes in. All men are not created equal. This was the reality I learned about society at the young age of 4. So like in an earlier episode, I was very, very confused because that line was presented in the dub, but it wasn't in the sub. And I was like, where the fuck did they get that from? Well, this is where they got that from. So now that makes more sense.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they repeated the line verbatim from this episode back in episode 1 in the dub, but yeah, that's where it came from. Oh dear. Did you sneeze?
No. I am hurt.
Did you fall off the oven again?
Oh my God.
No. Not yet, anyways. Okay, back to the episode. So I bet all the adults didn't help either. He was probably praised so much that he just ended up believing nothing could stop him. Also, he's a kid. Of course, it's going to go straight to his head.
Yep.
Fully agree. So then we transition back to the current day, I guess, and Ida is trying to get Katsuki to cooperate and act like a team. Katsuki is not having it. Revenge only. Who is teamwork? Never heard of her.
And Ida says in the dub, he hung up on me. We're supposed to be partners. I just love him and his English voice actor. They're perfection.
Ida must follow rules. Katsuki, not so much. Rules don't exist.
Yeah. So the screens in I'm calling it the judgment room, don't have sound. So no one has any idea what's being said other than All Might, who's got an earpiece that corresponds to the others. I did wonder like how far away they are from this room and whether or not Shoji and Jiro can hear like what's happening. And then like my brain went off on this like weird headcanon where they like both have this weekly gossip appointment. They go get coffee. They have the same taste in coffee. They're both total coffee snobs. And they just chat about all the things that they hear that nobody knows that they know.
I love it.
That is really adorable. Considering the amount of buildings in the area, though, I would assume it's at least half a mile away. I don't know, because it does look like a small city. So that's
true.
What I'm going to guess. And I love the kid canon. Imagine both of them knew about Izuku and All Might, have pretty much pretended they don't know because both babies are live and just let live.
That wouldn't surprise me.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so at least Izuku and Katsuki get a little privacy while they're screaming about their collective childhood trauma.
At least they get to have a little scream session, even though it's not very appropriate timing.
Yeah, well, that's them all over. And then we get more rules. The kids have to show that they, quote unquote, captured each other by getting this capture tape wrapped around them. The exercise itself lasts for 15 minutes, and the heroes don't know where the villains have put the bomb. And then Mina speaks up, and she thinks this gives the heroes a distinct disadvantage in the fight. And All Might's like, yes, such is life.
And in the dub, he says basically the same thing. He says, real pros have to outwit villains on a daily basis. That's life. Yeah. Also, another just costume point, because I apparently can't get over these early costumes. Who approved Shoto's terrible costume? It's terrible. There is not one redeeming quality about it. And I know for damn sure that Mei Hatsume was not consulted.
Shota! It is a terrible, terrible costume, but like I understand it because of his trauma, but still.
Yeah, I get the trauma angle, but I need to know who approved it so I can give them a bad review.
It's probably Engie's design.
Why would Engie design it that way to de-emphasize the fire, though?
Oh, good point. It was probably Shoto then.
Yeah, that's.
I
what
feel
I'm
like he
thinking.
probably doesn't. He doesn't have that kind of creative outlook. I don't think.
Oh, that's
I mean,
true.
Not in that way, anyway.
Yeah,
He has
yeah.
other forms of creativity.
Just not when it comes to designing costumes.
Yeah,
God, no.
yeah. Then we get the first group plus Ultra. It's very adorable. These are my babies. I love them.
Yeah, yeah. All Might is spending way too much time hyping up the class to
Mhm.
notice that his two sons are literally going to break each other. Sir, pay attention.
Also, Shoto's unenthusiastic joining in. My son.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be all of us. I feel like none of us are very enthusiastic joiners when it came
I
to school
am.
stuff. In high school?
When it came to school stuff, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know you're a joiner, but not in high school. I'm pretty damn sure you weren't.
Yeah,
No,
no.
I was
School
usually
sports
in
were
the
not my
back.
thing.
Oh,
Was in the back hiding from everyone and probably reading a book.
Yep.
Mhm. So then Aoyama draws everyone's attention back to the screens. Katsuki has gone on the offensive.
Yeah, because Sparkle Boy got to keep up with the boys.
And Izuku tells Ochako to run and get the bomb while he distracts Katsuki. And I'm just going to assume that that was their plan from the beginning because Katsuki's predictable as fuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's possible. Partially that, and partially that Ochako just knows how to work in a team, unlike a certain explosive pup.
Yeah, so Katsuki attacks Izuku, and Izuku almost manages to successfully capture Katsuki thanks to watching Eraserhead and his capture weapon in action. Izuku, your abilities are astounding sometimes. Also, like, how fucking funny would it have been if Izuku had won, like, right at this moment, just 10 seconds into the fight?
It would have been hilarious.
Mhm.
But I agree. Izuku's analysis and mimicry skills are astounding. He's at once using Eraserhead's moves that he's seen like once,
Mhm.
and also analyzing Katsuki's moves to perfection. How even does his brain work like that?
Gotta go fast.
Honestly, if he had gotten to train a lot more before receiving One for All, he would have been absolutely terrifying.
Mm.
And the fact that he can take on a person that has been using their quirk for so long and use it against them is so impressive. Also, Izuku reading him like a motherfucking book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right off the page, black and white. And all of the classmates are super impressed with Izuku so far because he's holding his own against the number one student already, even without using his quirk, which just goes to prove our point that quirk isn't everything, you fucking assholes.
I 200% agree because 100% was just not enough.
Yeah, seriously. Also, unrelated, the next shot right after this makes Jiro look like she's as tall as Sero and Sato. And I had to pause the frame and be like, what the hell were they thinking?
Didn't quite have the ratios down.
No, they definitely didn't. Let's see. All the students, they are all excited about Izuku being like so great already. And All Might is not surprised. And he knows he's good at acting in a crisis and acting well.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's my son. All Might probably.
I also liked the glimpse we get of All Might going through Izuku's notebook after he rescued him from the sludge guy. And like, I completely forgot about that. And
Mhm.
sometimes I wonder how much that factored into his decision to pass One for All onto Izuku. He was like, damn, this kid got brains.
Yeah, for sure. But also, All Might, you're holding an unconscious child while you flip through his diary.
Whoops.
That is hilariously inappropriate. And Izuku has just internalized all his analysis. And that is a completely different skill set from just analyzing it and writing down your observations. It's like he absorbed the knowledge straight into his muscles. And this is driving him forward in a way that his classmates just do not expect.
Yeah, I love how Izuku's just a lump in All Might's arms.
Aww.
Poor sweet baby.
It's super impressive just how much Izuku has been able not only to retain, but subconsciously and consciously use it. If Zuko had gone the villain route, he would have been absolutely fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so going back to the fight, Izuku realizes that the tide of the fight has turned, and he's not going to get this over with quickly anymore because now Katsuki is on the defensive as well as the offensive. So he decides to turn tail and run as a distraction. And like, okay, it gets nasty later, but at this moment, Katsuki's like building rage and confusion are just, there's just something so funny about it. Like, at least in this moment, like, it's hilarious in a way I don't really know how to describe.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. I was particularly worried, not amused, but you do you. Izuku,
oh yeah, no, it gets super fucking fucked up later, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it was just, there's something oddly relatable about it.
Yeah, that's true. And I love how Izuku even knows when Katsuki is switching things up. And that makes him wonder if Katsuki could possibly be worried about his prospects in this fight. And so he recognizes that he needs to make an actual plan. Good boy, Izuku.
Yes.
Yeah, Deku's reaction time is impeccable. And as soon as he realized he lost the element of surprise against Kacchan, he ran. He's such a smart babe.
He's so smart.
Very smart boy. And now we're going to start something that I unironically in the notes called Nicole's Unscientific Character Analysis, Bakugo Katsuki Part 1. Because I just had a lot of thoughts and feelings watching this episode and watching it, knowing exactly where Katsuki is in the latest chapters. It's just, I had a lot of things to say.
Yes, do it.
All right. So Katsuki thinks Izuku has been tricking him for years and laughing behind his back. And I wonder if this is because Katsuki has been laughing behind Izuku's back, perhaps to hide his feelings and or his insecurities. And now he just believes that Izuku does it too, because if they're on a level playing field, like he somehow believes, Izuku would be doing the same thing as Katsuki is doing. And honey, no, that's not how it works.
Well said.
Then the next thing he says in the dub is quirk or no, you'll never beat me, Deku. And like, honey, your fortress walls around your heart. He just sees everyone and everything as a threat now because he's been conditioned by everyone around him to think that he'll always win in whatever fight he has. It's just become everything is a fight and I'm going to win because everyone's told me I will. And if I lose, am I even myself or a person, let alone a hero?
Snaps for you. So this fight really sets the tone for how Class 1A feel about Katsuki and Izuku, at least for now in this first season. And the status quo is now a complete reversal from what it was in middle school. So now everyone dislikes Katsuki because they think he's violent and scary. On the other hand, the Deku fan club are already submitting t-shirt orders.
Absolutely. I think part of it, the reason the whole class is super impressed. I think part of the reason is that the whole class all have like super impressive powers. And so they see that both boys have like, they're really powerful. And since none of them have ever like really interacted with them outside of UA, they probably also don't realize the amount of BS that Deku has endured. Nor poor Katsuki's own struggles. I do agree though, it is like a complete 180 from middle school.
Yeah, it's interesting that the tables reversed so suddenly, even without all that prior knowledge.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got All Might sitting there watching Katsuki like, damn, now I got to be a dad to 2 kids. This one has problems.
For sure. Yep. And then we also get Denki's like first line. And I don't even remember what that first line was, but I love that little goober.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to point out that All Might also knows that Katsuki is very prideful from young Midoriya's chats with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he does also know that too much pride will be his undoing, either professionally or mentally or both.
Yeah, Dad must add to his two problem children.
For sure. Meanwhile, the fight is still ongoing. Izuku is still distracting Katsuki with this like game of hide and seek. He's totally roasting Katsuki in his head because he can't work with others or follow a plan for shit. We also get a nice demonstration of Izuku's tactical abilities and more video game graphics.
Yeah, and Deku's strategy is pretty damn good here, knowing that splitting up is the best bet because he knows that they are outmatched in quirk strength.
Mm.
Yeah, Bakugo being nicely roasted and toasted by Izuku is absolutely wonderful. Just imagine how upset the Pommy would be if he could hear it all.
It would send him right over the edge.
Oh God. I think the really sad thing is that that's what Katsuki thinks is playing in Izuku's head 24/7.
Oh, why would you say that?
Because it's true.
My son.
Why would you do this?
I know. I'm sorry, but also I'm not. But anyway, Izuku, I thought it was interesting that he's demonstrating a level of confidence that he's never shown before. Like this is the first time he really believes that he can outright beat Katsuki. There's even this flashback to the middle school classroom where Izuku said that he would never dream of competing with Katsuki. And Izuku goes, yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah. He takes back everything he said to Katsuki when he was quirkless, because now he's inspired and determined to be the best hero, just like All Might. And that means absorbing and adapting all the strengths around him, including Katsuki's, even if it's going to piss him off. Good boy, Izuku.
Izuku is the best boy. And I love how he's adapting and becoming way more confident with his abilities. He's finally learning his worth, although it would have been great if he had figured it out beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting there now, so it's fine.
Is it though?
Well, not for us, obviously, because we have to watch these episodes again and be emotionally devastated. But, you know, progress is progress. Yay. It's never too late to start. So then we get another series of childhood flashbacks. I don't think these proceed in what's the word? Like in order of time? In sequential order. Chronological order, thank you. So I don't think these proceed in chronological order, but Katsuki is naturally skilled at a lot of things and Izuku isn't. Katsuki pits the other kids against Izuku a lot, and he basically becomes like the group punching bag. Also, Katsuki's quirk manifests early, and the adults are all about it, and they just shower him with praise. And going back to what we were talking about last episode, I thought it was interesting that his quirk first manifests as like these small sparky explosions, which are cool to look at, but relatively harmless considering how his quirk grows later. And I wonder how his character arc would have changed if he'd accidentally blown out a wall or something and scared everyone with the first manifestation of his quirk.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been very interesting to see.
Yeah, so I just had this sudden thought. Katsuki has hit burnt out gifted kid.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Literally a lot earlier than a lot of us do.
Well, I think it follows more along the lines of the prodigy rather than the gifted kid, because a lot of child prodigies actually turn out to be relatively normal once they get to teenagerhood and adulthood. So I think he's feeling that gifted burnout, if I can talk. He's feeling that just at an even bigger magnitude.
Yeah, it's very condensed, so it's happening very, very quickly. Also, can we just talk about the music in the background? It goes to show that at this point, Bakugo is almost insane to the point where he cannot grasp how Izuku turned out so different. So it just adds to that suspense of how Bakugo is feeling and he's having this flashback.
Yeah, all of this definitely had a big impact on Katsuki's sense of right and wrong and how the world works. And, up until now, Izuku's quirklessness for Katsuki had been confirmation of this viewpoint.
Yep. And it was at this point that I had a lot more feelings and thoughts. So we are going to continue Nicole's unscientific character analysis of Bakugo Katsuki. Katsuki was even good at playing ball and sneered when Izuku didn't measure up right away. Like, bro, honey, he was not taught that everyone is different and being different is good, even if they don't measure up to the same skill level right away. I feel like I need to play Mitsuki for that.
Oh, we will get to Katsuki's
100%.
parents.
Oh, I hate
Because
them
his
so
dad
much.
doesn't get off either.
No, neither of them do. We will get to it though. Also, he says to Izuku, why can't you do anything right? And I feel like that gets right to the center of his insecurities. He's probably talking to his scad. What the
It's okay, babe. Just start over.
He's probably talking to the scared little kid inside of him when he's saying that to Izuku. And then he continues in the dub. He says, I bet there's no one as great as I am. After his teachers encourage him, he's got that big old head and nobody does anything to try and deflate it. And that also feeds right back into his feelings for Izuku. Izuku can't do anything right, and yet he can't help but stick around Katsuki. And Izuku says, Katsuki says, whatever power you get, you'll never be able to beat me. And then he does manage to stand right up to him and beat him in the end. Izuku does, and this just rocks his whole world. And then when Deku is diagnosed as quirkless, everything in Katsuki's head was just positively reinforced. Dear God, this boy never had a chance. And what's probably going through his head is, you're a failure, Deku. And as long as I'm better than you, I'll never fail.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
And then, of course, we get the creek scene, the pivotal scene, the scene that follows us for basically the rest of this series.
Literally, yeah. Also in the dub, he has this cute little song. He says, forward march and here we go. Members of the agency, Bakugo. I have to say, if he had stuck with music, I feel like he would have been a way better adjusted person.
Probably.
It's pretty adorable. But this is also the memory that Katsuki returns to again and again throughout the series, because it implies the opposite of everything he's learned so far. Izuku is quirkless and useless, but Izuku is still the one to reach out to make sure that Katsuki is okay and to offer assistance.
Yep. And this is after he falls into the creek and he is quite literally failing, like in his head. And who's there to help him? Izuku, looking at him like he's some kind of weakling, just like Izuku is himself. And then we flash forward to Izuku again reaching out his hand in the sludge monster attack. And Katsuki says, but I'm not. I'm so much better than you are. Oh, poor thing. He's always been fixated on being better than Izuku. And now that that's actually a challenge, his whole mental image of himself is cracking, as literally seen in the shot at minute 12:54, at least on Hulu.
Yeah. And then there's also this implication that Katsuki never receives assistance even when he needs it. And is just expected to do everything on his own because he's, quote unquote, strong. Like even with the sludge guy, part of the reason the heroes weren't super pressed to leap into the fight and help is that Katsuki's quirk was obviously powerful and he was clearly putting up a fight. So they just assumed that he'd be able to hold his own until a better suited hero could handle the situation.
Yeah. And my poor son, he definitely internalized all of that. And now he gets mad whenever anyone offers assistance, sympathy, and or empathy, not just Izuku.
Yeah, y'all put it perfectly. I do have something to say.
Go for it.
To move forward, your entire reality literally has to be shattered. And unfortunately for Baku, it happened from the person who he always thought was going to be below him. Izuku literally is the one thing he thought he could have control over, and it turns out that's not the case at all. So he is his closest companion that he thought he knew everything about, and now he knows that isn't so. And so if he knows nothing of Izuku, then he knows nothing of himself.
Ooh.
Oh, that is a beautiful point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of emotional over here because this is me of all my
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can't help but get emotional over these two because it's so universal what they're both feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're both maybe not archetypes specifically, but they both they really hit upon something intrinsic to every person.
Yep.
So, we're over here having feelings. There's a lot happening. But then in the show, we're transitioning to Ochako, who's sneaking up on Ida, who's busy getting into character. I love my son so much. He's so cute.
He is fully committed to this role.
Uh-huh.
I must also devote myself to being a villain. Sir, you're a goober. Also, this was a great way to break some of the tension that had been building up over the Deku versus Bakugo arena.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we all would have been in tears at the end of this episode if it weren't for Ida and Ochako. So we just got to save our tears for later.
Exactly. Yeah. So Ida was able to predict Ochako and Izuku's strategy, and he removed everything from the room that Ochako could float and use as a weapon. Good job, buddy.
He be smart and he be sparkling evilly.
He's so committed. So Ochako is a bit flustered, but she does have the presence of mind to update Izuku and try to come up with a new plan. We also note that there's only 6 minutes left of the training exercise, so they are running out of time. But then Katsuki finds Izuku finally, and it is face-off time. And little Izuku standing up and being like, I'm not scared of you anymore. Just my heart.
I know, he's so good, but also this really triggers Katsuki, but he hides it and he plays the arrogance because he knows he has a literal bomb in his hand and he's ready to blast Deku right back into his place under his boot.
With all your stalking, you already know. Oh, so you do know that Deku keeps tabs on you, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's like they know some things about how closely each other watches them, but not everything. It's so dissonant.
Very much in denial.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So Katsuki points his hand at Izuku, and then we get this explanation of Katsuki's quirk and his grenade things, which is fine. I mean, I still think they're too bulky. I bet they're fun to draw though.
Yeah, I just had this thought. Instead of like round grenades, I wonder if there was ever a time when they thought to just give him dynamite sleeves, which are a lot sleeker. They're not round. They would literally just be sleeves. So I wonder if that's ever going to happen or update. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And Katsuki says, he'll be fine as long as he dodges. Sir, bad boy. No, don't do that.
So to everyone else who's watching, it looks like Katsuki's about to just straight up blow Izuku up. And at first, All Might is like, okay, I got to stop this. But then Katsuki's, he speaks and he's sort of holding back and he doesn't aim directly for Izuku. He aims more at his feet. And so Izuku is blasted backwards instead of being blown up. I mean, it's still pretty brutal. And the class, of course, has a very strong reaction, which is perfectly understandable because, again, they can't hear what's being said. And it totally looks like Katsuki is actively trying to blow Izuku up. But his goal is intimidation rather than outright injury. Also, he's trying to bait Izuku into using his quirk because if Izuku beats him, he wants to beat Izuku without having any excuse for how he did so. Like he wants it to be very, very plain and out there. I am stronger than him. No matter what he tries to do, I can beat him.
Yeah. You put that perfectly because that's what threads through the entire show for Katsuki. In the dub, he says, even if you give me everything you've got, you'll never beat me. So that just crystallizes it. But like, honey, you're a little obsessive.
A little?
just a smidge, just a sprinkle. Also in the dub, like right after the big explosion, right then, he giggled like a little gremlin.
What?
Yeah, like go to the. It's like really cute, but also really scary because he giggles when he sees the destruction that he's caused. Like, and I know he's like having a breakdown, but goddamn, I love him and his little gremlin giggle.
I saw it too.
Oh God.
Yeah, our boy has totally lost his marbles.
Mm.
He has one thing on his mind, and that is to teach Izuku who is boss, because he can't handle the fact that Izuku might not be the weakling that he thought he was.
Yeah, and so upstairs, Ida is distracted by the explosion, and in this immediately he's just like, Bakugo, what the fuck did you do? And Ochako is like, well, I guess it's fight time, let's go. Also, her boots have these like weird tiny ass kitten heels. I don't like them. They don't look very stable. The design changes later, thank God, because there's no way she'd be very stable with those stupid ass heels.
I mean, women who do things in heels are terrifying, so I don't hate it.
Yeah, they could be better heels. I mean,
Yeah.
they could also not be heels, but the heels themselves could be better. I think kitten heels are like worse for your feet than platform heels.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, moving away from the heels discussion, Ida is concerned, and Bakugo still won't answer him. Ochako tries to win while he's distracted, but Ida just snatches the entire bomb away and gives his little villain evil laugh. And then Uraraka, she doesn't want to let Deku down, and he's already inspiring people, these sweet babes.
Yeah, Ochako is ready to throw down, but Ida came in saying, he a runner, he a track star.
Oh my God.
Well, acting like a villain, like the true groomer he is. You cannot tell me he was not having fun while doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He was having a blast, but he will never admit it.
Mm-hmm. And so all Ochako has to do is touch the bomb in order to win. That's considered, capturing the weapon. So that is her new goal, instead of trying to capture Katsuki and Ida as originally planned. And then on Ida's side, like, he's just trying to outlast her till time runs out. And then of course, Katsuki is all, come on, fight me. And Izuku is trying to communicate with Ochako still. And Katsuki is just like, how dare you pay attention to anyone who isn't me?
Yep. And Katsuki demands Izuku fight him. And Izuku is like fully ignoring him. And he knows that this is going to make him sloppy. He's such a good strategist. Also, in the dub, it says, I'll get your attention, sir, your crush. Maybe let's dial it down a few.
Yeah, Bakugo must be the center of Izuku's world. There is no other. Also, I finally looked up Bakugo's birthday, and he is a motherfucking cuss baby between Aries and Taurus, and it makes so goddamn much sense. And he's like chaos and disturbance, and like, I cannot with this kid. I literally had a meltdown.
You really did. I remember. But it is so perfect for him.
It does. Yeah, it fits perfectly. So back in the judgment room, Kirishima is like, dude, you need to stop this. It's getting totally out of hand. But All Might refuses because, well, A, he's still trying to figure out what Katsuki's deal is. But B, he realizes how important this confrontation is to Izuku. And like, I have mixed feelings about this because, you got to let your kids be challenged, but there's literal firepower involved right now. So maybe like not right now. But then also like, this is definitely where interpreting everything literally starts to break down, because we're definitely not supposed to be interpreting this literally. This is definitely very much like metaphorical.
Yeah, for sure. But we're still gonna analyze it literally,
because we do what we want.
Yeah. This is our radio show. Also, I do want to point out that Kirishima is the manliest man of them all.
Yes, he is. He's such a good boy.
Cute. And then Kiryu's the best. I love him so much. I think All Might realizes that this is something that Bakugo needs to see for himself. Like, he won't really believe Deku is strong without actually fighting him. like, I don't fully condone it, but I see why he's doing it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it makes some sense. So All Might compromises by letting Katsuki off with a warning that if he tries that shit again, he's shutting them down. And he also let him know that he definitely lost a lot of points for blowing up the building because that is stupid as fuck, no matter what side you're on. But at the same time, All Might does also seem torn over his own choice. Like, he knows he's playing with fire, literally. But he also recognizes that he's too emotionally involved in this conflict to make a clear-headed decision.
Yeah. And basically All Might claims that him taking away the points is because it's a poor strategy to destroy the villain stronghold. But we all know it's to keep them both alive and to keep Katsuki just off the literal edge of his own mind.
Yeah. Also, like, thank Christ he gets that Teaching for Dummies book later.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No.
Maria?
What?
The sneeze went away again.
Oh God. Christ. We're just gonna keep following the sneeze. But yeah, where the fuck are
We
we?
really needed that book.
Yeah.
Yes, Teaching for Dummies book. Yes, he very much needed it. So meanwhile, Katsuki and Izuku continue to fight. Katsuki is now aware that Izuku is tracking his movements and he starts busting out all his fancy moves.
Adapting very slowly.
Yes. And then Shoto speaks. In the sub, when he's talking about Katsuki, he says he doesn't look like the type to think. And he's already savage. He's so unintentionally savage. I love him.
Oh yeah. And Shoto, his first line in the dub, and he says it with like this little knowing squint, like he knows. He says he doesn't come off as a guy with a strategy, but he's actually quite intelligent. And and he points out exactly how Katsuki pulled off that great feint attack. And then he's backed up by Momo, who we already know is also the other A student. Yeah.
I love him so much. My son.
He's so lovable.
We all love Shoto. It's about damn time he started talking. I do have to point out, unfortunately, we get a shot of fucking Mineta staring right at Momo's chest. It's just disgusting. I hate him so much.
Gross.
I was trying to do angry shark noises, but I couldn't.
I don't. Do sharks make noises?
When they're murdering you, I bet they do.
I'm gonna look that up later.
Okay. You do that. And then we have one of Denki's like best lines in the entire show. He says, Bakugo is uber talented. I hate it.
Oh my God. Classic Denki.
Yeah.
So yeah, the class is begrudgingly in awe of Katsuki's mad skills, while at the same time being like, what is wrong with him? And Izuku is getting the tar beaten out of him, and he decides that he has to use One for All if he wants to beat Katsuki. And he pretends to run away and then positions himself in a very specific spot by the window.
Yep. And we will learn that is also part of the strategy.
Very intentional.
Yeah. But Katsuki's attack, like the attack he just did that upset everybody else, he basically attacked Izuku's back, then his arm, and then he grabs that same injured arm to then throw him down onto his injured back again. And he's basically mirroring what Izuku did in the last episode and doing it. And he's like just dialing it up to 10. It's really good, but also these two need some more constructive and less destructive hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's impressive that he can mirror Izuku, but Bakugo would never admit that because he has issues.
Oh, so many.
So many issues.
Also, the entire class is just as concerned as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Tokoyami, my other emo son, finally spoke. Those are not the actions of a hero. You tell us that.
He's our best bird boy.
So good.
Yep. All right. And then Katsuki continues as he's just continuing his mental breakdown. He says, Deku, don't you ever forget who you are. You're a weakling. Oh, this poor child. He is truly terrified of the status quo changing because since he's at the top of the pecking order in this society and in his dynamic with Izuku, he knows that any change is going to be bad for him implicitly and consciously. And everyone knows now that Izuku can't beat Katsuki's sheer combat power without a quirk. And then All Might, this fight is not for either of their sakes. You need to put them in a room with a couples counselor. You poor clueless man. I love you, but you're clueless.
Yeah. Katsuki is all like, well, you've looked down on me since we were kids and I hate you for it. And Izuku is all like, you fucking idiot. I admire you more than anyone else, despite the fact that you're an arrogant shithead who's made my life miserable. And like, this is the 4th time they've had this exact same argument. I'm so tired.
Yeah. It's exhausting, these poor children. In the dub, Katsuki says, you've been hiding your true power for years. What's the deal, Deku? Did you think you were better than me this entire time? No, honey, that's your mental block, not everyone else's. And then Izuku says, can't you see that that's why I want to beat you? Because you're amazing and you've always been better than me? Honeys, just please sit down, have some tea, some mochi, just take a breath.
Children, teenagers are absolutely
Seniors,
exhausting.
yeah.
My God.
And then Bakugo gets even more mad after Izuku says that. Sir, you're getting complimented. Take a freaking chill pill. Have Shoto cool you down, please.
Yep, he can't be beaten, but he also can't win. He's stuck no matter what. He's gonna be mad at everything. So they rush at each other. Katsuki's explosions activate at the same time as Izuku's One for All. They're about to collide. There's lots of dramatic buildup. Kirishima is like, why aren't you ending this? And All Might is like right on the edge of finally interfering. ...
Yeah, you love to see Kirishima just bashing on All Might and his subpar teaching skills. It's beautiful.
Such a good boy.
Kiri's showing us why he's the best boy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, All Might, I know you want your kids to grow, but maybe let's not have them beat each other up half to death, but even before they leave the classroom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he believes that in order to achieve his dream, Izuku has to beat Katsuki. Like, sure, in it, but no. Also, you can go to therapy, work all those feelings out, and then have a much more controlled sparring match. Not, this murderous, destructive nonsense you have going on.
Yeah, it would make for good television.
Yeah, I guess, but also, please go to therapy.
Everyone go to therapy. So just before they collide, Izuku signals Ochako. She grabs a column. Izuku punches Katsuki's explosion upwards with a Detroit Smash, which blows a giant hole through basically the entire building. Ida and Ochako are directly above them, and they just barely avoid the blast. And then Ochako uses the now broken column as a baseball bat to hit debris in Ida's direction, which distracts him just long enough to let her touch the bomb. Yes, I rushed through all that, but it all happens in like 10 seconds. Like all of that happens all at the same time.
Yeah. Izuku took on the entire brunt of Bakugo's punch, knowing full well that he would be thinking that Izuku was also thinking of going for a punch, but the fact that Izuku had other plans, like the smart boy he is. And then Chaco's so cute, surprise home run. Sweetie, already making moves. And then Uda losing.
Uda. That's his new name.
You can join Izuzuku and Bakugo.
I saw the O from Ochako on the notes, and then I saw Ida, and my mind just like merged both of them.
Yeah.
Anywho, Ida losing his mind, realizing Ochako's plan is absolutely adorable.
God, yes, those two are so cute. And then dramatic music swells. Katsuki realizes he totally got played, and he's pissed about it, obviously. But he also seems like kind of intimidated by Izuku, even though Izuku currently is lying on the ground with all his bones broken again, and upset that he couldn't beat Katsuki without using One for All, because that's the appropriate thing to be concerned about right now in his mind, I guess. Sir, your bones.
Bones go, I don't exist anymore.
And the rest of the class is just like, what the fuck did we just witness? And honestly, same.
Yeah. And Izuku is just in pain. He confesses he wasn't going to use One for All in the dub. But then we get a nice foreshadowing shot of Izuku with his fist in the air, like All Might. It was all he could think of to just break himself in order to prevail. And then Katsuki,
big sigh.
Yeah, we got a sigh, but he won, so I guess
He did good.
Yeah, and then Katsuki proceeds to have a panic attack and/or dissociate, seeing that Izuku won, seeing the pain that he's in, seeing how he injured Izuku so badly. And now he knows how far he's willing to go to win, even if he is weaker on paper. And this just completely shatters everything that was cracked going into this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can tell that Bakugo's brain cannot fully compute at all. Bakugo is going through an existential crisis in the span of just a few moments, and all that's left is Izuku on the ground in pain and all the destruction that he caused.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But also, Izuku and Ochako win! Woo! At what cost?
Yeah. No. All Might says, "You did it. The hero team wins. But at what cost, All Might? Both to the characters and to the viewers' hearts."
Yes.
You should have stopped this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, babies did such good teamwork.
They did so good. They did super duper good. And then we get the closing credits. And then the preview, the other teams are up next. How are they going to do? How awkward will the aftermath of this fight be? Will we actually get to see Katsuki express an emotion that isn't rage?
Yes, we will. And that emotion is anxiety.
But also, Shoto will finally get his time to shine.
Yes, we finally get to see the other kiddos in action. And that's it. That's the episode. So take it away, Nicole.
So we're going to just start with the manga differences for chapter 9. When Bakugo is like when he was a little kid again, his shirt literally says "kill." So his obsession with dye just started real young, like honey. You also get
Sorry, I just have to point out one thing. So, I know earlier we were talking about how fashionable Bakugo is, but if we take a look at canon Bakugo, this child is like anti-fashion.
Yeah. He somehow managed to twist his parents' fashion sense and what they tried to start him on, and they just twisted it to be absolutely no fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Rebellion. I love him.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He needs a hug. Anyway, we get the usual dialogue differences. There's also a panel difference that shows Ida and Bakugo as some sort of horror monsters rather than the video game visual that was used, which I'm happy for because I don't like horror. It's fine. We also get a possible shot of the mothers, of the little friend group in the background in the Skipping Rocks panel. They're in the background having a little adult chat while the children are bullying each other. It's nice. And then we just get the full line of the creek scene. And he says, "You look like you needed to be saved." And then Katsuki says, "But I'm better than him." And that is just... it's not only mirrored just between the two going all the way forward throughout the plot, but it also mirrors a certain somebody else we've seen the current fate of in the war arc. Oh, Izuku, honey, sweetie.
Ooh.
Yeah. Also, Midoriya's shirt is different. In the anime, it's just an M and it kind of looks like it's just for his last name. But in the manga, it's actually a stylized All Might logo with the hair.
Interesting. I wonder if they just didn't want to draw it.
That's very possible. And then chapter 10, there was literally just dialogue differences. So nothing big there. I do want to point out that the missile says Taidopong. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies. But it seems to be a reference to a North Korean ballistic missile.
Oh, God.
So take that as you will. I
We're
was
not going to comment
uncomfortable.
on that.
No. Mm.
Not enough time, not enough prior knowledge.
Yeah, no. Ugh. All right. And then finally, we have just a very small red thread Easter egg fan theory roundup time. We get the Winged Boy's return. We get a little bit more steady on his timeline, basically from when he was there to when he was not. He is there in preschool with Izuku and Katsuki, and he's one of Katsuki's biggest supporters. And he's there when basically everyone else's quirk manifests except Izuku's. So you kind of know that's going to stick in his mind for later.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other thing that I really picked up on was Izuku's raised fist when he beat Katsuki, as I mentioned earlier. At the end of their fight, his raised fist is really quite reminiscent of All Might's same stance when he gets his own victories.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So not much looking forward this episode, just all the sad feels for our children.
Yeah. Had a little bit different going on.
Yeah.
There was a lot in this episode.
I'm
Mhm.
exhausted.
Lots of feeling.
Me too.
It's been an interesting episode, and I still have not sneezed.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully you'll sneeze at some point today.
Yep.
I hope so. It's like stuck. It's been there for the entire episode.
Oh, that's
Aw.
so uncomfortable.
It really is. And I'm sitting here just crying into my food.
Go
All
snort
right.
some black pepper. That'll do it.
Oh, Jesus. We don't need a black pepper challenge. Let's not do that.
I'm smarter than that. I like to think sometimes. Catch me when I'm drunk. That's a whole nother story.
Alrighty. Final comments?
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
excited for everything to calm down a little bit next week.
Yeah, this was a lot.
Yeah, this episode's so much. My poor son. He needs
Yeah.
so
Also,
many
the
hugs.
hawks are gone.
No! Why didn't you tag them so I could track them?
I mean, I would have had to leave the episode.
Yeah, it would, but it would have been an adventure for future Patreon content or something.
All right. Well, I think we all need a nap.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This has been My Hero Analysis. You'll hear us next week. And in the meantime, go beyond plus ultra, thirst responsibly, sneeze better than Maria, and always tag your hawks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with us, have questions you'd like us to discuss on air, give topic suggestions for bonus episodes, or submit fan art for us to display, visit our website at myheroanalysis.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for @myheroanalysis. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.